Hey everybody and welcome back. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames, and this is episode 9 of our Dark Souls Predatory Women playthrough, where we look at the dangers that women present to men from a red-pilled perspective. When last we left off, we were here, sitting right here at the bonfire, twitching our legs. They still got that leg twitch bug in the game. You know, there's so much they didn't fix. It's just amazing. So many opportunities missed. Now, the question is, do I take the shortcut through here and skip some stuff, or do I take the long route? We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling as we go, right? Oh, look at that. And a humanity is ours. A winner is you. Today's episode is about the Feminist. So, I'm going to give you the cliff notes right up front. The solution, the end result, the conclusion, the answer. What do you do when it comes to feminists? Well, you don't date them at all. Zero, none. Hey guys, hang on just a second. Let me just alt-tab out real quick and bring the volume down just a bit. Okay, now we're back. Volume was a little too high at first. Oh boy. Don't get toxic. Whatever you do, don't get toxic. Whoop. What if I hit them with the Dark Silver Tracer and afflict them with Toxic? That would be interesting. Woo! Soul of a Proud Knight, awesome. Alright, so we're not going to explore every nook and cranny of this area. We're going to try to get through it without too much trouble. But we'll see how it goes, right? Now, the problem's going to be not getting toxic on us. Alright, there's a couple of these toxic guys. Even if you shoot them with arrows and whatnot, it can be a little tricky. You just gotta make sure to stay away from when they die. Woo! Alright. Oh boy. And one... Oh, we missed that first one. So, yeah, the answer to the feminist, you don't date them, you avoid them. Once you figure out she's a feminist, you abandon. I wouldn't make like a huge deal out of it. I wouldn't stir up a lot of trouble over it. I would just let her know, you know, it's as kindly as you can. Yeah, I don't date feminists. I don't think I'm, say something along the lines of, I wouldn't get along with a feminist. Feminists wouldn't like me. I don't date them. And then, come on. And then be done with that. But just in case you want to hear more on it, all women will feel some obligation or some sense of feminism nowadays. Virtually all of them. The only ones that say that they don't are like more conservative women who've decided to kind of take that direct anti-feminist approach, which that can be fine as well. Just be careful. Just because a woman says, I'm pushing down the plunger on my French press. We have more dark black coffee, this time an alternative espresso roast bean. Here we go. Might not be as dark and rich as what I'm used to, but it'll be good enough. Because those conservative women are probably going to be better for the most part, but I don't want you guys mistakenly thinking that, oh, she's a conservative and she says she hates feminists and she hates the anti-male agenda out there. That's fine, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is a great woman and a great choice. She could very much be a borderline personality disorder woman. She could very much be bipolar. She could have narcissistic personality disorder. She could have any number of problems that are totally separate from the fact that she's anti-feminist. So being anti-feminist is great. It's not a red flag at all. It's a green flag, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't have other problems. So I don't want you to think that if you see some chick and she's got a Make America Great Again hat and she talks about how feminism is evil, that doesn't mean that she's the perfect choice for you and the perfect woman and she's going to be great and not have any problems. Hopefully most of you would probably realize that, but just in case. Okay, I don't think I can bleed the dragon out. It would be nice. Whoa. So much missing there. And let's run up here. Whoop. Oh, I keep swinging above his little claw there. That's silly, isn't it? Spit. Do your spit. It takes him a while to wind up for it, so it gives you some good opportunity to hit him. There we go. By the way, in case you didn't know, the blood shield that you pick up right here on this bridge is a great shield overall. And it has very high bleed resist. I'm pretty sure it has high bleed resist. Whatever. If it doesn't, you guys can check it out yourselves. We're going to take the short route. How about that? No. We'll do this the more legit way. I can't believe they didn't get rid of that shortcut. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be a shortcut. The way it works just seems so glitchy. But all women may feel some proclivity towards feminism. A woman may actually say she's a feminist, but then when you start describing modern third wave feminism, like that crazy lunatic shit that you see on Twitter and Facebook and social media, she may go, oh, no, I'm not into that. That's not, I'm not like that at all. So just be aware that, did they, okay. Just be aware that she may not realize everything involved in modern feminism. So when she says she's a feminist, she doesn't really mean feminist in the sense that you're thinking, like crazy blue-haired SJW, goes insane over thinking that Trump colluded with Russia, thinks all men are evil and all men are rapists and all men should die, and, you know, and all that other crazy... Oh, it looks like they don't give you another one. Okay, that's fine. Did you like that back roll? All right, let's whoa, shoot. Woo, that was close. Okay. Yeah, I don't think you can jump all the way down there. I think if you jump even from here, you die. Although I never really tested that. Let's not test it today. Okay. Let's go this way. And take the official route. So, diehard feminists desire their own, or they kind of deny their own nature. They avoid it at all costs. They pretend like they don't like being intimate with men. They pretend like they hate all men. Then they end up wanting some man, or, you know, a lot of these feminists, I'm told by other men who date a lot and who date women of this kind of age group, I'm told that a lot of them actually like some pretty out there, you know, kinky, weird stuff. Like, because they are so adamant about wanting to be masculine and mannish, not masculine, sorry, mannish, and because they're just so anti-woman and anti-feminine, rather, a lot of them, if they find the right alpha male, will be all about that. And to such a degree that more so than the average woman, these feminists like weird things like being tied up or being dominated or being talked to, you know, dirty, and being told that they're an SLUT and all this other stuff. And none of them dropped anything. That sucks. Oh, well. So, you know, I'm told that they kind of like a man who can break them of that feminism for just a brief moment while they're in bed together. And then, of course, she'll kind of get mad at him a little maybe afterwards, or kind of reassert her feminism afterwards to be like, I'm still a feminist, or, you know, whatever. Feminists can be also defined by the level of anger and resentment they show. Let's see if I can get this this guy to pop up. I couldn't get him to pop up last time. They're often very bitter, very angry at the world. Now, I think people could probably say that about me to some degree, because they hear me talking about how the world's all anti-man. There's a feminine imperative. It's no one gives a shit about men. Everyone's out there trying to help women. Women lie all the time. Police, prosecutors, the news media all want to believe the lies women tell. Yada, yada, yada. This is not about hating the world. It's not about being angry at the world. I think that's what happens to a lot of men that go the route of the black pill or MGTOW, men going their own way, men who kind of give up on relationships. I think the secret is to recognize all this, recognize that it is reality. It's true. It's real. But instead of just being angry and bitter about it, find a way to work around it, even work with it. Find solutions to the problems. Fight your way through it. Find a way to conquer what you can, and to mitigate the damage of what you can't defeat. So instead of just going into family court during your divorce and being like, oh, it sucks, everything's terrible, men are just, you know, they're destroying me, and then, you know, instead of feeling like everything is against you, which, I mean, it often is, but instead of just feeling that way and feeling hopeless, Go in there, think, you know what? I'm going to get the best lawyer I can. I'm going to fight this as best I can. I'm going to look for all the loopholes. I'm going to look for all the strategies. I'm going to figure out what I can do to get the best deal for me. And you fight for you, and you don't do what men typically do. You don't do this thing about where you're talking to your lawyer and he tells you can do this and you can do that, and you go, well, no, I don't want to do that to her. Because, guys, she wants to do that to you. She doesn't care what happens to you. Don't be trying to be the white knight. Don't try to be her savior. Don't try to cut her a break. Don't try to make it easy for her. She's not going to make it easy for you. She's not going to cut you a break. She's not going to worry about how much money you have. She would be perfectly fine. Believe me, guys, I've seen it. I've seen it countless times thanks to what I do for a living. Countless times. Guy is worried about the woman, doesn't want her to go to jail, doesn't want her to get in trouble, wants to make sure she's got enough money, wants to make sure she's got a place to live. And guess what? She is doing everything in her power to get him sent to jail, even lying. She's trying to make sure that he ends up homeless on the street. Actually, I hope this doesn't interfere with the recording, but this filter is just too dark, you know? Let's see. There we go. Okay. And we're back. So now I can actually see. It looks a little funky, but whatever. Whoa! Time to drink up. Alright. I didn't see that other one there. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Sidestep him. And then follow him. Done. Where's the bone wheel shield? That would be like a challenge playthrough, to play through with nothing but the bone wheel shield, even as your weapon. Go, 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 go! There we go. What? Oh. Somehow he dodged it. I'm not familiar with the dodge move. The feminists are often very rude, demanding. Yeah, they're very demanding. That's the adjective form. And they're often very entitled. They have this sense that everything should come to them easily because they're a woman. They have this sense that the world's been mean to them because they're a woman. Not necessarily them directly, but that the world as a whole has been anti-woman and sexist towards women for centuries or millennia, and she should be repaid for all this sexism that women in the past have experienced. And of course, she hasn't experienced it. She may think she has, but she hasn't, because as you know, women, far from being victims of sexism, are actually the benefactors of a misandrous society, a society that essentially kind of hates men, thinks of men as bad, thinks of the masculine as bad, treats boys as defective girls, treats men as broken because they're not more like women. It's essentially a society that thinks that the woman's way to do it is correct, the man's way to do it is wrong, the woman's way of doing things is safer and better, and we even hear this in politics. I've talked about this before. Andrew Yang said if you put a bunch of men in a room by themselves without women, they get dumb. They become morons. You've heard Obama say that, you know, men have messed up the world and now we need women to come in and fix it. Elizabeth Warren just recently at one of her like town hall meetings or whatever said if you know there's a mess and you need somebody to clean it up, you got to call a woman to do it right. You got to call a woman. Men can't. She didn't say men can't do it, but she said you got to call a woman. And of course, the message is clear. If you don't call a woman, who's going to get it done? I mean, it's got to be women. Women know how to get it done. Men don't. Or men are incompetent. Or men are doofuses. Or men just can't do it as well as women can. And of course, the same kind of message you do not hear. You do not hear men in politics out there saying, you better get a man to do it. A woman can't do what men can do. You don't hear women saying, oh, we're all so dumb, we need men to set us straight. And that's how women sound, by the way. Let me see if this is where I could potentially die if I'm not careful. There we go. Last time I wasn't paying attention and that knight came up behind me and just slammed me to the ground, pancake style, and I died. Come here, buddy. You can parry him, you just can't riposte. There we go. Nice. Shield and a large Titanite shard. Of no value to us at the moment, obviously. At the moment, we may need to upgrade some stuff in the future for future cosplay playthroughs or future themed playthroughs. Let's do it, guys. I think we may already have Priscilla's dagger, but just in case we don't, let's do this. Okay, so now we got the challenge of trying to do this without a shield. Oh, got it. Okay. Not worried about it now. And easiest Priscilla fight ever. I got lucky a little bit. I guessed where her back was to start, and I got it right. Twin humanities. It's humanity times 2. I have a reason for doing this, guys. Those of you that are experts in Dark Souls know why I'm doing this. The rest of you are about to find out. So instead of having to reload the area, I just shut the game down, restart, and boom, there you go. Because if I do go back to the bonfire, I have to run all the way back. That's the only other way I know how to do it. So yeah, there you go. If I do an Iron Tarkus playthrough, it'll be new in the sense I've never done one, but I have used his gear before. So it's not like brand new. By the way, it sucks if you die here, because you go back to the bonfire in the Painted World, and then you got to run all the way to... It's not a very far run, granted, but the only way to get out of the Painted World is to jump off past Priscilla, or Priscilla's boss arena. You can't warp out of it, even after you've conquered the area. Which is kind of silly in my opinion. I feel like once you've conquered that area, you should be able to warp out, or put a bonfire in the boss arena room that is warpable, even if the first bonfire is not. That's a solution. But did they do that? No, because they don't ask me. They don't ask me these questions. Shit, where do I... Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? Let's push this down. Actually, no. Let's do this. We will fight Gwendolyn. How about that? So, feminists. One way to spot a feminist, a devout Hillary voter. If it's a woman, she's just voting for Hillary, and she says something like, "Well, you know, I just think it's time to get a woman in there." That's a yellow flag. That's not a red flag. A lot of guys will tell you that's a red flag. That's a yellow flag. That could be a very dangerous sign. But ask her a question. And I don't recommend in general discussing politics with women. It's a bad idea for several reasons. But you could ask her. Say, I'm curious. Do you think we should have a woman president just to have a woman president? Like, would you vote for a woman because she's a woman, even if you didn't think she was as qualified as her male competitor? That's a test. Also, ask her, would you ever vote for a Republican? Because a lot of younger women that you'll be dating, especially if you're concerned about her being a feminist, will be devout Democrat supporters. They mistakenly think that the Democrat Party is like the party of the little people, or the party of the worker, or the whatever other bullshit that the Democrats have convinced Americans to believe. And, like, for example, a lot of people believe that the Republican Party is the party of big business. Probably a lot of you out there right now are like, yeah, of course it is. But the biggest transfer of government money to private corporations, the biggest transfer by far, exponentially bigger, was when Obama gave nearly $1 trillion to corporations in the stimulus. The stimulus bill that Obama passed, that Obama pushed for, was the largest transfer of government funds to private corporations in the history of the United States, without question, by far, like multiple times more. So the notion that the Republicans are the party of big business and Democrats are the party of the little guy, you didn't get a stimulus. The big businesses did. Okay? You didn't get to skip out on paying your taxes. Big businesses did. You didn't get millions and millions and millions of dollars because you screwed up and didn't know how to handle your finances. Banks did. Huge banking corporations. You know what the solution would have been? Let the banks fail. New ones will emerge, or smaller banks will grow larger, and in their ashes will rise new corporations, and the new corporations will go, well, guys, we better not do what those other banks did, because you saw what happened to them. Instead, what did we teach the big banks? We taught the giant big banks on Wall Street, if you screw up your business too bad, don't worry, the government will bail you out. If you've ever started a small business or your family had a small business that failed, did the government bail them out? Did the government give your family a stimulus when you when your family made bad decisions or put a business in place that just wasn't working or wasn't solvent? Ugh. He's gonna heal, isn't he? I just need one more. Got him. I think that was the bleed, too. Maybe not. They can drop Titanite chunks, by the way, but certainly not the best place to get them. So, test of a feminist. Would she vote for a woman just because she's a woman? Would she ever vote for a Republican? If you meet a woman who says she'd never vote for a Republican, you know, ask her why. That's a yellow flag. That's a definite yellow flag, not necessarily a red flag. Some women are just so dedicated. They're not like intensely political, but their family has always voted Democrat. Most people vote the way their family voted. They were raised that way. I personally was raised one way, and I don't vote that way anymore. So the way I was raised to vote is not currently how I vote. So people do break away from that. It's not, you know, it's not destiny. You don't have to follow the way your family votes. And I would recommend that you make your own decisions. Look at all the facts and evidence and evaluate all the circumstances and decide which you think is best. That's what I would recommend. Not just, well, you know, my family's always voted for this party and, you know, they tell me it's because of this reason or that reason. And there we go. We'll kindle that. Not a lot of reason to kindle it, but whatever. So, the feminist, one of the things you'll notice about her, she'll be very politically vocal. She'll be very vocal about politics and social positions and opinions. This is a danger no matter what. Even if she's conservative and extremely political, that's a big danger for you. I would caution you against that very strongly. Even if you agree with her politics, because that's what I would call a red flag. Any woman that's deeply political is probably going to be somewhat controlling. She's probably going to have a more mannish approach to life. Most more feminine women, while they may be political, will not be overtly political, like strongly political. They won't have these intense political beliefs that they feel the need to share. They won't try to convince you of them. They won't argue politics with you. I don't think a woman should argue politics with a man, or really other women. It's just not a thing most women do. And I don't think it's very feminine. I know there's probably a lot of people out there that are going to get offended by that, especially the millennials who believe in everyone is equal, 100% equal all the time. You know, that's just not how reality works. All right, let's see what we can do here. Boom. And... oh, shoot. Oh! Got him. Took a little fancy footwork. When you've got a mess and you really need it cleaned up, you call a woman and get the job done. Exact quote from Elizabeth Warren. It just went by on my Twitter feed that I'm watching. I have Twitter constantly rolling on my second screen over here. My dual monitors. I actually considered getting 3 monitors, but I don't think I do that much. And I've always wondered, like, what is the effect on gaming performance when you have additional monitors? I don't feel like it's much. I don't feel like it's enough to worry about. If you can get value out of a second monitor, which I think if you have any sort of significant workflow, you should be able to get some value out of it. What the heck? I kept spamming the button and it just wouldn't attack. I'm not sure what that was. Oh no. Alright, back to R1 spamming. Oh, I know why it didn't work. She was talking. That's another one of my pet peeves with this. When an NPC talks, it disables your controls while the NPC is attacking you. Can you see what's wrong with that? Don't disable the player's controls while they're in the middle of fighting. So then you have to just do everything in your power to dodge the enemy because you're trying to, if you care about the lore, you're trying to listen to what they're saying, but you're also trying to avoid them. And you can't do anything. You can't block, you can't attack, you just move around. And if you hit any buttons, you'll skip the dialogue. Just really, really poorly implemented. Unfortunately. So, the feminist will try to convert you. She'll try to convert her boyfriend. She'll try to convert her husband. She'll try to convert her friends. She'll try to convert male coworkers, male friends. The goal here is that she should follow your lead, not you follow hers. And a devout feminist will not tolerate you doing anything else. Now, it is possible that if you're alpha enough, if you have the good qualities, if she sees you as a high enough value man, she might be willing to set aside her feminism, but probably not, and probably not permanently. She might set it aside temporarily, just long enough to kind of hold on to you until she gets her meat hooks into you. And once she gets you kind of hooked on the relationship, at that point, she can then hit you with more of that stuff, where she gets more intense about it. It can be very difficult to get this guy. Okay, well, it'll take 3 rounds of hitting him as long as I get off enough hits each time. Whoop! I like when he does that when I'm closer. It's easy to dodge, and you can get right up on him. Some of the others are a little harder to dodge. Okay, so he's about half health now. Sorry. She. He's trans. Dark Souls has a trans woman. That's so cool and woke. I almost got him, but I ran out of stamina. Okay, probably 1 or 2 more hits, and that's it. I'm not comfortable with the exact moment at which he wants to disappear. Got him. Oh! That was me giving the effect of him dying. Alright. We've defeated 2 bosses, both optional in this playthrough, or episode rather. She may have short hair. She may color her hair, some crazy color. May have crazy makeup. She could potentially be feminine, though. She might have high heels and a dress and skirt and everything. Oftentimes, they kind of eschew the more feminine aspects of clothing and dress and makeup because they're trying to... It's sort of... Feminism is sort of like a turning against femininity. It's a sort of turning against what is perceived as womanly or feminine or traditionally feminine. She may constantly bitch about the patriarchy and political things she disagrees with. Don't choose a girl who does that. Don't choose a girl who's heavy into politics like we discussed. Just walk away from that. And I think it's fair to tell her. You don't have to. No one owes you an explanation. But I think it's kind of a douche move to just walk out on someone and not tell them why. So... walk up, just get up to leave if it's a first date and just tell her, I really appreciate you coming out, but I don't date feminists. So, good luck with everything. Bye. That kind of does it. You can say it in your own way, of course. I think it's always best to have your own language, to have your own way of communicating, not to use just set phrases. You can use set phrases until you kind of develop your own style and approach. I think that's a great idea. Let's see. We have not defeated Calamite. So, yeah. That might be a thing that we do. Really don't want to, but why not? So apparently Elizabeth Warren was talking to the Culinary Workers Union when she said, when you've got a mess and you really need it cleaned up, you call a woman and get the job done. That's feminists' way of talking. It's all about women. It's all about how bad women are, or I'm sorry, how bad men are and how good women are. And it's all about how women can solve all the problems that men caused. So all the problems in society today, well, men caused those. And what's the solution? Women. Women are the solution. We need women to come in and save us dumb men from ourselves. I never noticed how interesting those bonfires look. I'm surprised that's available to me, given that I'm offline. I wonder if you can get in there and go online even though you put the game in offline mode. I appreciate that they tried to create the arena situation here in Dark Souls, but it just ultimately never really panned out very well. It was popular for a brief period of time and then just died off, and everyone kind of went back to open world PvP. So the thing about the feminist is a lot of the stuff we talked about with the virago, or the dominant woman, the domineering woman, a lot of that stuff is going to apply to the feminist. She's going to do a lot of that stuff as well. Oh, you know, I just realized I have to go talk to Calamite first. Or not talk to, rather, I have to activate Calamite. He has to appear first. So she's going to be very domineering. She's going to want a very dominant role. She's going to want to be mannish at times. And yes, she'll make lots of demands typically. She'll be very entitled and selfish, self-righteous. She may feel like she's fighting a self-righteous cause. Now, of course, some people could say the same thing about, well, looky here, finally, guess who decides to actually show up for once? Where was she in the past several playthroughs?
May the Lord... You humans, always taking what you please. Then I shall...
It's Kieran versus Kieran. But we've got our weapons flipped around. Kieran versus Kieran. Whoa, shoot. Shoot. I didn't say shit, I said shoot. Oh no, she got me. Oh boy, does she take a lot of damage. She is not easy to defeat here. I love it when you've already got the Lloyd's Talisman effect on you and she keeps throwing it at you. Her AI is not the best. She will continue to throw them at you even when it's already applied. So those are like free opportunities to hit her. It's her not doing any damage to you. Although it will extend the effect, obviously. I think that's really cool, though, that she does that. Because for players who've never used the Lloyd's Talisman and don't know what it does, it might be a clear indication. Although they might not know it's the Lloyd's Talisman that they're being hit with. Doggo 1. Doggo 2. Remember, I've discussed, these could be good doggos who just don't know that you're the good guy, or are you the good guy? That's a good question, right? You know, one of the questions about Dark Souls is, are you a good guy in this? Are you a bad guy? Are you neutral? Or is it far more complicated than that? And I just realized we do not want to go into this with any less than a full thing of 20 Estus. We're not going to fight those two dogs this time. Or Kieran this time, given that she's not alive anymore. We're going to go straight to Calamite, although there are going to be 3 dogs on our way, unfortunately. So the other thing about a feminist, she may use terms like girly, girlish, feminine as insults. This is a very interesting thing that I've noticed. You never, ever hear a guy say, well, I don't want to wear that. That's too manly. That's too manly. Guys would never say that. But you hear women say, that's too girly. Isn't that interesting? Now, there's a difference between a woman saying, well, that's too childish, looks like a little girl's outfit. Like, she might say, well, I don't want to wear that because it makes me look like a little girl. That's an issue of the maturity of the clothing. Guys never say, that's too manly. Like, women will actually say that something makes them look like too much of a lady. A lot of women don't want to wear skirts or dresses because it's too feminine. If you have a woman that thinks anything is too feminine, that's a red flag. That's definitely a red flag. It doesn't mean that doesn't mean that it's an irrecoverable situation. You can possibly fix that by getting her to appreciate the feminine and appreciate things that look feminine, look womanly. But I wouldn't. Oh yeah, it just occurred to me we're only down here to activate him, not fight him. And while we do that, let's actually run down there and get, what is it? Titanite slab. Titanite slab. We're gonna run all the way around, see if we can get that thing. Notice the camera pulls out a little farther out here. And now we're just gonna hope that we don't die. Gotta keep going, gotta keep going. I think we're good. Alright. Alright, let's get the heck out of here and come back. After talking to Go. The other thing about a lot of these feminist women is they may express hatred for what is traditionally feminine, including things that are incorrectly seen as feminine and not masculine, incorrectly, such as cooking. Because most of the greatest cooks in the world, like think of all the famous chefs that you can think of. Those are cooks. They're men, not women. They're mostly men. So no, cooking is not an inherently feminine thing, but because it's incorrectly perceived that way, feminists will oftentimes see cooking as a negative thing, especially if they have to cook for a man. They'll see that as a degrading act. A true woman will want to cook for her man. She will not see it as degrading. She will see it as a great thing, a way for her to express her love and admiration and respect. If she thinks that cooking for a man is degrading and insulting, definite red flag. I would say that's a huge red flag. That may also include things like cleaning the house, taking care of, doing the dishes, laundry, all that. It's as if guys who live alone or just live with other roommates, it's as if they don't do these things. Now, yeah, granted, some of them don't, but trust me on this, the misconceptions abound. There's this misconception that women, when they live either by themselves or with just female roommates, are clean and neat and orderly, and they do their laundry and they cook and all this and that. Men, on the other hand, everything gets really dirty and filthy, mounds of clothes everywhere. I have seen it both ways. I cannot honestly tell you that there's more filth or uncleanliness from one versus the other. I go inside people's houses all the time. I see people with roommates. I see people who are married. There is no consistency among whether younger, anyone under about 40, you cannot count on the women being clean and neat or doing their laundry all the time and the men not, or the men doing it and the women not. It's a crapshoot. Some women are clean, some men are clean. Some women aren't clean, some men aren't clean. There's no consistency, and it does not depend on their sex. It really doesn't. So you cannot know. I don't think statistically is one more likely than the other. I don't think so. I think statistically they've shown that among millennials, the men report their own cooking skill as higher than the women do. So when men and women, millennial-aged men and women, are asked to rate their own skill in cooking and cleaning or whatever, on like a scale of 0 to 10, millennial men rate themselves higher than millennial women rate themselves. And in my personal experience, yes, I've noticed that men do seem to be better at cooking in that age range. I can cook a lot better than a lot of the women my age, although I don't think I'm a millennial. It depends on who you ask. Some people consider me just barely in the millennial range. Others consider me just outside it. I consider myself just outside it, but not everyone's in agreement on that, so whatever. Oh! Fail. Oh well. We may abandon our efforts to kill Calamite if it's too difficult. We just don't need them. Although, I would like the obsidian sword. That's a cool sword. I don't remember how to get it. Do we? I don't think we have to chop off his tail, do we? Let me do a quick tab over, and I'm going to look up the obsidian sword and make sure I don't miss it. I thought it was called the obsidian sword. Maybe I'm wrong. Dark Souls. What is it called? Obsidian Greatsword. Okay. Obtained by cutting off the tail of Black Dragon Calamite. I can remember the pain and misery of trying to cut off Calamite's tail. So, yeah. We might not do that. But I guess it counts as a dragon weapon, does it not? Well, I'm assuming it does. That I don't remember. I'm assuming it uses dragon scales for upgrading. And has a base damage. It doesn't scale. That's just my assumption, having no recollection of all those details. So, with the feminists, what should you do? Well, if you're not involved with one, and you just met one, or you're just dating, have nothing to do with her, leave, be done. Tell her that you don't date feminists, you just don't think it works out very well for you or for the relationship, and then leave. If you're in a relationship that is semi-long-term, but you guys don't live together, you're not married, you don't have kids, just end it. Same thing, just end it. Just be done, walk off. If you're in a long-term relationship, live together, have kids, married even, okay, so... yeah, the idea of just walking off on every little slight doesn't work in that case, but then again, this isn't a small slight. Her being a feminist is a major issue. You'll have to eventually set some boundaries that you enforce, and if she keeps crossing them in the relationship at that point, but you're going to have to let her know, in this house, we're not feminists. We don't do that stuff. We don't hate men. We don't teach boys that they're bad. We don't talk about toxic masculinity. And if she does, then, you know, do the typical find a lawyer, plan your escape, and let her find out the hard way that you're out. And don't tell her. Oh, shoot. Don't tell her that you're leaving. Just leave, right? Do not tell her you're leaving. Please don't do that. Don't give your enemy a heads up. Oh, no. I can't remember the last time I got hit by that. Oh. Yep, I knew that was coming. Oh. Good old fun times. The next two episodes are going to be the Sugar Daddy Girl and the Abuser. I think I could probably cover the Sugar Daddy real briefly. I should have combined Sugar Daddy with Gold Digger. I think those are pretty similar. You know what? I really don't feel like fighting Calamite anymore. Are there any bosses that I missed? Any optional bosses that I haven't fought yet? Let's go back to the Firelink Shrine for now. Dump off all the souls that we have. Drinking from this new mug that my girlfriend got me. She knows I'm a mug collector. I eventually will have to build some shelves. Got to figure out whether I'm staying in this house or moving to a new house. Eventually I'm going to move to a new house. I just don't know the timing on it. And so the sooner the move, the less likely it is that I'll build the shelving units. But I'd like to put in some shelves in both the kitchen and elsewhere where I can kind of put up a lot of my mugs that I collect. And I collect and I use them, but as I kind of get bored of them, or as they start to crack a little bit, then they become more showpieces. And I like the... What am I doing? Oh, yeah. I like having them as showpieces when they're used, because they have that sort of antique, been through the ringer kind of look to them. Like, they've been in the war, so to speak. You know, it's the difference between putting up this brand new, nice-looking shield and hanging it on your wall versus a used shield that's actually been in battle, that has the scars, the nicks, and the damage. I prefer the second. I know a lot of people like the first, and there's obvious reasons for both, but I prefer the second. I prefer the ones that have the scars of war. It's true, we're at the end. Okay, so let's do one loop through just to get a bunch of upgrade materials. We may do 2 or 3 loops through here, getting upgrade materials. Make it easier to have a conversation when we're not really too focused on anything. So, should you bend a little to her feminist whims? Absolutely not. Not in the slightest. No. 0. Okay, so I actually have had so much coffee, I gotta pee really bad, and I'm not gonna be able to finish this episode. So I'm gonna do that and then splice this all together. So hang tight, guys. And we're back to get this thing done. Let's do it. Yes. All right. You'll notice that feminists are also some of the biggest critics of other women. They hate other women who don't limit themselves in the way that they do. Feminists limit themselves to what they think is feminist in nature, what they think a feminist should do. Trying to pour some coffee here. Man, these guys are tough in New Game Plus, let me tell you. And one of the other problems too is I think the scaling on your weapons, it's not that I think. Yes, the scaling on your weapons begins to drop significantly. Super diminishing returns. You lose the ability to keep upgrading because, you know, you maxed out upgrades. So your ability to increase the amount of damage you do diminishes significantly to the point where it's just insignificantly incremental. But the enemies continue to upgrade, and so it just becomes significantly harder over time, obviously, as you go from New Game Plus to +2, +3, +4, +5, all the way to, I think, +7, right? Oh, I haven't parried that move in a long time. It was a silent parry. This is the red? Yeah. And of course, with any build, you can always get weapons that don't scale. In those cases, one of the benefits to having non-scaling weapons, whether dragon weapons or elemental weapons, is that although you can't get quite as much damage out of them, at least in-game, you do have the benefit of not having to worry about strength, dex, faith, or intellect, or intelligence, whatever it's called in this. Instead, you can pour all of your points into vitality and endurance, or vitality into... Yeah, is that what it's called? What is it called in this game? Yeah, vitality and endurance. Resistance is a waste. So you can put almost everything into vitality and endurance. Maybe do a little attunement in either faith or intelligence, depending on if you want some of those spells. But you just have so much, so many souls that you can pour into those two, not having to worry about strength and dex and all that. But, you know, like I said, you don't get quite as much damage out of it. You can make this guy fall off. Again, the only catch to that is you don't get the item that he drops. Whew. Takes 3 to kill him. That's kind of crazy. Another Titanite chunk. All right. Thinking about a Black Knight playthrough, that would change things up significantly because we would be medium rolling, I believe. I think we'd have to use the Ring of Favor Protection and the Havel's Ring to get that medium roll. And then we would have the option of the Black Knight Sword, the Black Knight Sword, the Black Knight Great Sword, the Black Knight Great Axe, and the Black Knight Halberd. So we'd have 4 weapons that we could alternate. We just got to get enough Twinkling Titanite to upgrade them all. Now, farming Twinkling just right here, giant pain in the ass, because I mean, that would take a long time. 1 Twinkling per run. There's better ways to do it. Oh, I don't know if I've ever parried that. I think my favorite might be the Great Axe. I don't know. Maybe it's just the base sword because it's just so much easier to use. And I kind of walked around because I didn't want to accidentally throw him off the ledge. I want all the things that these guys drop. Though I don't see myself doing any Faith build anytime soon. Although I could do another Solaire build. Ooh. Very fortunate with the parries here. I say that now. Watch me mess it up. Not worth the risk of that final parry, so we'll just go around for a couple R1s. Safer bet. The blue Titanite. And there we go, guys. Let's, I guess let's repeat. Actually, now that I think about it, did any of them give us a Twinkling? Am I crazy, or did we not get a Twinkling Titanite? Oh, the other good news is you can use the souls that you gain to go buy Twinkling Titanite at 8,000 souls a pop, granted, but still, it does speed things up. We also need to go and figure out which boss weapons we want to take into the next new game. I probably will do a lot of that stuff off camera, although I hate spending that much time playing and not recording anything. Let's see. Or I may just see about getting like a Mega Mule type save. That might be the easiest way to go. And of course, keep that one offline. Let's see. Now that I think about it, maybe they don't drop Twinkling. That's Titanite chunk. This guy's the red. The next guy's a Titanite chunk. Then a white. And then a blue. So none of them give Twinkling, huh? Am I crazy? Yeah, I decided last second I didn't want to try to parry that. Oh, shoot! I managed to poise through it. That's incredible. That's a very hard-hitting weapon. Oh, 16 damage. I love the sound of hitting that shield. That shield just sounds so thick and heavy. Boom! Ooh, the Black Knight Greatsword. All right, if we didn't have it before, we got it now. So, obvious simple solution with the Feminists is a no. Now, you can set gradual, progressive boundaries with the Feminists that you're in a long-term, like, marriage or something. The more connected you are to this person, not emotionally. I mean, by government contract, by having a house together, by having kids, by having retirement accounts, by, you know, the more connected you are in that regard, then the less, the more you want to do to try to save it, the less you just want to have this attitude of just cut and run, because it's a lot harder to cut and run. That doesn't mean you should stay with a woman who's a very negative influence on you and degrading and all that, but you do at least want to give her a chance to improve herself to come up to your standards. If you're a high-value man, you shouldn't settle for a low-value woman. Even if you're already in that relation. Yeah, it looks like there is no twinkling here. That's crazy. I thought everything dropped here. You don't want to settle for a low value woman. You just don't. Unfortunately, a lot of guys do. They forget what the real purpose in life is. Their purpose becomes just trying to maintain a relationship with this woman, even though she's not really that great. Oh my goodness. What an asshole. Uh-oh, I'm dead. Or not, okay. Whoa! He's gonna keep coming right at me. Oh boy. There we go. So your goal should never be to keep this particular woman. Oh. Okay. Oh no! I couldn't get out of it. I need to get my toggle escape down. I never really mastered the toggle escape. I've done it before. I just don't like doing it. It feels cheap. Feels like you're doing something you're not supposed to. All right, well, we'll go ahead and call it there, guys. We'll be here for the next episode, in which we may combine the last two, Sugar Daddy and Abuser. We'll see if we can find enough to do in this playthrough right at the end, too, because I do want to talk about the physically abusive woman. That's a very important one. I intentionally left that one for last, and I do want to make sure there's enough time in the game to discuss the issues involved. All right, guys, thanks for joining me once again. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames. I hope you look forward to the next episode. In the next series, we'll be getting down to Red Pill basics. And in my opinion, I see the Red Pill as more overarching as a praxology, a set of tools to approach all of life, not just relationships and dating and intimacy, but everything. Improving yourself, becoming a better man, finances, fashion, fitness, health, nutrition. Everything should be wrapped up together in that. Because in order to be a high-value man, you have to have everything together, for the most part. You can't be a high-value man and look like a slob and eat like a slob and not have any money. And that doesn't mean that you can't get girls. You can get girls while you're poor and don't have much going, but I don't think that's the purpose of life. The purpose of your goal should not be get hot chicks. You know, you should have bigger goals than that. Anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to like it if you did with a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button, click that notification bell icon, and go ahead and set it to all so that you always get notified if that's what you want. Leave your comments below. I do read them all. And if you want to send me a direct message on Twitter, that's where you can talk to me privately. My DMs are open. Once again, thanks, guys. Make sure to maintain your frame, and I will see you all next time. Later.